Drew Manning, what's going on, man?
Jimmy Moore, dude, it's good to be back on, man. It's been what, a few years, 5 years since
Yeah,
our last.
we did a crossover episode. You host a show called Fit2Fat2Fit. I have a Living La Vida Low Carb show, and I was just like, hey, why don't we do like a crossover? Because we wanted to interview each other at the time.
Yes.
You had some program you were promoting, and I always had a book out. The last 7 years, I've written books in a row.
Yeah.
So we were promoting each other, and you're like, hey, why don't we like simulcast it on both shows? I'm like, that's a great idea. So we kind of took turns interviewing each other. That was a lot of fun.
That was a great idea. And I didn't know that was my idea, so I'm pretty impressed with myself. I thought that was your idea, but I'll take credit for it, I guess.
Originally, a decade ago on my show, when you did your original Fit2Fat2Fit journey, they got you on Night Show with Jay Leno. You were on the Dr. Oz show. I was listening back to our interview. You had a lot of international kind of interest. You didn't realize how big it was going to explode, where you only had like a few thousand followers at that time. And now you guys look, 227,000 followers on. You probably have a commensurate amount of Facebook followers and all around. YouTube videos and all that kind of thing. He has the #1 selling keto program, over 300,000 downloads. Dude, you just been out there doing your thing.
Yeah.
And now you decide to go off deep end again. Go to Fit to that to 40.
40.
You and I actually are the same birthday. I'm much older, but the same birthday. And so tell us a little bit about why you decided to dive into the deep end again.
Yeah, really good question, Jimmy. And thanks for letting me come on and explain this, because back when I first did it in 2011, I had no idea how hard it was going to be. And that was the biggest lesson that I learned from all of it was how hard it is, especially on the mental and emotional level. And that's where it clicked for me. And that's where I started to learn those lessons and started to kind of reshape my brand and reshape my approach to helping people more so on the mental and emotional side and connecting those dots rather than, hey, reduce your calories, work out more, like we keep telling people over and over again. And so fast forward to now, 2020, why would I do this ever again? Because I swore I would never do it again. I might have even said it on your show, I would never do it again. Yeah. So here's the thing, a lot of stuff can change. So 2020 was a year, in the beginning of the year, I had thought about doing it again, but I needed to have a strong why. I didn't know what my why was yet, but I was feeling this inkling to maybe do it again. But I'm like, I can't just do it just to do it. Like, I have to have a big why. And then when 2020 happened and the pandemic and all the division that was happening, I just was like, you know what? I feel like now is a time to do it again because of how much division there was in the world. And I feel like this world needs more empathy. And more specifically in the fitness industry, it's a very judgmental industry. And for me, I feel like the fitness industry could use empathy to make some changes, some real changes, in my opinion. And this journey of Fit to Fat to 40 is a driving force to bring empathy to the fitness industry. So that was my why. And back in 2011, no one really followed me. No one really knew what Fit to Fat to Fit was until later on, because social media wasn't what it is today. So I felt like I had another chance as a 40-year-old to do it again the right way with more eyes on it to make more of an impact.
Well, and it's definitely an interesting concept because now you're 40. 40 is when things go downhill. And so you about to find out how hard it is.
I love the accent. Yes, very true.
The 30 and very muscular. One thing that kind of struck me about last year in 2020, because we're now in 2021, is when you started this journey, I went, Drew, we're in the middle of a global health pandemic that we know gets people with comorbidities due to their diet and lifestyle choices. What are you doing, dude? Like, did that ever cross your mind in the midst of your gaining weight? And we'll get into how much you gained this time. But in the midst of the gaining weight this time around, did you go, I wonder about my high blood pressure this time? I wonder about the obesity this time. I wonder if I'm maybe making myself more susceptible if I get the virus in this weight gain. Was that a concern at all?
Absolutely. And you, like many other people, there was not many people, a few people tried to talk me out of it because of what was happening. And I was like, look, I know the risk. I have an awesome doctor that I'll be working with almost on a weekly basis. So mostly a monthly basis, but there was times where we were meeting every single week just to do some tests to make sure I wasn't dying. But yes, 100%, I factor those risks in. Luckily, knock on wood, I haven't gotten COVID yet. I haven't been sick yet. So that's a blessing for sure. I definitely rolled the dice there. But for me, my why was bigger than, okay, is this healthy? Is it risky? What I'm doing, it definitely is very unhealthy. Like it's not healthy. It's very risky for sure. But for me, my why was bigger than that. And luckily it worked out. I mean, if I got COVID and ended up in the hospital or possibly worse, yeah, for sure, it would not have been a good idea. But
well, I mean, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you made it through the worst part of your journey. At the recording of this, you're in your kind of final couple of days before you start the official going back down and going back to fit again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was quite the journey, and it was funner this time because I followed you last time.
Yeah.
That social media wasn't near what it is now. And eyeballs are a lot more visible on what you're doing because you were very, very open about the challenges that you had for yourself. I love the way you got creative with it. You know, okay, here I am eating my cereal and having this. And okay, I'll just granola bar and drinking a cup. I mean, you were just like showing it every day, and then you could see visibly, there goes the abs. I know the last time you said it took 6 or 7 weeks your abs went away. How quick this time?
Around the same. Actually, my pace was a little bit ahead of the first time I did it. So around probably 5 or 6 weeks, the abs were gone for sure. But that, yeah, like to your point, I wanted people to be able to see it through, whether they're on Insta stories, Facebook Lives, Instagram Lives, like all these platforms that we have nowadays could make this journey so more powerful. And the point of that, Jimmy, was to kind of help people build up their awareness of kind of seeing themselves in my journey. Like that, oh, dude, Drew's doing that. That's exactly what I do. And oh, man, he's feeling that way too. Like, man, that's how I feel. In his sleep, he feels that way when he wakes up. Maybe this is something that, oh, maybe my diet does affect that. Maybe my diet does affect my mood and my personality, my patience levels with my kids. So that was my hope, is to people to see transparently what I was going through, to hopefully make them more aware of, okay, maybe there's some changes that they can make in their lives. Does that make sense?
Can I tell you, when I was watching the volume of foods you were consuming,
yes,
I'm going, I don't think 410-pound Jimmy Moore would have eaten that much food. And of course, your normal diet, but with all your physical activity, and you totally did no physical activity, just like the last time. Yeah. It was all food related, and you kind of limited any kind of movement. And so your normal diet is several thousand calories, 2,500 to 3,000 generally, right? Probably.
Yeah, closer to 3,500.
Yeah. So, okay. So even higher.
Yeah.
Makes me even more. Like, you're used to eating volumes of food, but now it's like without the exercise to burn it off and a much worse quality of food. Like, I'm looking at that food and I'm going, I would eat 5,000 pounds if I keep eating like Drew's eating.
It's so true, but you bring up a really good point. And I remember you commenting, because I had a lot of people, some people say, Drew, no one eats that way. No one eats that much food. And I'm like, maybe, but there are people out there that do eat large amounts of food and sometimes don't know how many calories are in these foods. Because when I posted, oh, here's my 2,000 calorie breakfast, they're like, what? That's 2,000 calories? There's no way. And I showed them the MyFitnessPal. Here's the calories. Here's the macros. And so I think it makes some people think, like, man, maybe I eat more calories than I think I am, and maybe other people do eat more calories than they think they're eating.
Well, and that's the thing. All the surveys of dietitians and people of what people think they are eating in terms of like caloric content, what they actually are, it's way, way off. So yeah, you're right. That made a great physical illustration. Oh, that looks like what I would eat. Wait, that's 2,000 calories. Yeah, so you're right. That had to be kind of a good educational tool. There was some good things while you were mutilating your body. We'll celebrate those things along the way.
Sure.
What was the hardest part this time? Last time you said you didn't realize the emotional aspect of this. Obviously, I've watched all of your stories and your Instagram lives and everything. It hit you again, and we're going to get into a very specific emotional thing that happened this time around that didn't quite happen in the midst of your journey last time around. But what was the hardest part of this journey?
you know what? I went into this journey thinking it was going to be so much easier. I'm like, oh man, I know what to expect. It's going to be easy. I kind of was a little bit cocky thinking, oh, I got this. I know what's going to happen. But I think this time around, Jimmy, with all the work that I've done ever since my divorce, 6 years ago, I feel like I'm way more in tune with my emotions and I'm aware of those emotions. And this time I was thinking, oh, it's going to be easier. But as soon as I got into it, it was almost like I was out of control of what was really happening. I was aware of what was happening, but I feel like I was way more attached to my emotions, to where the highs were super high, but the lows were really low.
Yeah.
So I've hit some of my darkest, lowest moments in these past 4 months compared to anything else I've been through in my life. And I had no idea it was going to be that powerful and that dark and that hard for me, because I was thinking, oh, I still meditate, I journal, it'll be fine. But man, I had no idea for the nightmare almost feelings of those heavy emotions during this journey. So the first time I did it, I had no idea about the mental and emotional side at all. This time I was aware of that, but then I had no idea those emotions were going to be as powerful as they were. And so in that sense, I was very humbled. And the other biggest surprise, Jimmy, was how powerful for me this time around emotional eating was. Because last time I kind of ate just because I had to. I didn't really have these low emotions. This time around, the power of emotional eating, and when you're that low and depressed and you have some ice cream and that little dopamine hit that you get, is I get why people do it, and I'm not condoning the behavior, but I understand how powerful that feeling is of like, I'm so sad, I'm so lonely, I'm so depressed. You know what? This ice cream, this cake, this cookie, this wine, whatever it is, feels good, and it temporarily numbs the pain. And I'm like, man, I see myself, I'm a little bit nervous to go back to fit, in the sense of like, I'm going to have those emotions come up, but what am I going to do this time around now that I can't have the ice cream? Even I'm a little bit nervous about that. So that was really powerful for me.
And here's the ironic thing. We're all wanting that dopamine hit.
Yes.
And we all seek out ways to do that. Some people it's food, some people it's drugs, some people it's alcohol, some people it's sex, some people it's whatever. So it's different ways of manifesting it. But like, you're hitting on something that is part of this journey that I want people to hear loud and clear. And I know you've articulated it a few times in the midst of your journey. It's the food, dummy. Like, it's the food causing you to have those high highs and the low lows. And so it's another underscoring of what you eat matters more than just like the physical appearance. It's the brain health. It's your mood stability. Like, that's what makes keto so brilliant, is once you kind of get into that state, you're pretty chill, you're pretty happy.
Yeah.
Things are sucky. You can handle it a little better. You don't have high highs. You don't have low lows. You stay kind of in this neutrality zone, and that's where people thrive, is in that zone. And so what you demonstrated, eating all the crap, or as I like to call it, crappy garbage, is it does impact that part of your life.
It does. And I think the thing that I learned that I hope people are aware of is when they saw me go through that, they realized the power of this lifestyle, eating the crappy carbs like you're talking about, not sleeping well, not exercising, and then creating this vicious cycle that I did this for 4 months. People have been doing this for years, maybe not as high a quantity of food, but the same patterns over and over and over again for years or decades of their life. Imagine then trying to break that cycle. I see, and this is why I'm trying to bring empathy to this type of understanding, so that people can empathize with people that struggle with weight loss and body image. Because you want to just say, look, stop eating so much food and go to the gym. Like, I get it, but you wouldn't go to a drug addict and be like, dude, just stop doing drugs. It's not that hard. Like, just quit, right? It's the same kind of pattern, addiction in our brain, where we are numbing ourselves with some type of substance, whether it's illegal or legal. And we all do that in a sense to make ourselves feel better temporarily and not have to deal with the pain, the emotional pain of whatever trauma or challenges we're going through in life. And this is why I'm trying to bring empathy to this industry, so people aren't so judgmental towards those that struggle. Because for some people it's cake, ice cream. For other people it's alcohol. For other people it's drugs. For other people it's sex, it's porn, it's movies, TV shows, social media, it's the gym, it's exercise, it's hiking, whatever it is. We all have these escapisms that do that for us. But some people, it's for them, it's food, and you can see it on their body, but you don't know their story. And so for me, man, this is why I feel like I'm trying to disrupt the industry by bringing empathy first. because no one else is talking about that. Everyone's talking about macros and calories and weight loss and science and how to get this skinny body and how to get a six pack. That's cool, but we're missing the mark, in my opinion.
And I remember after the success of your first Fit2Fat2Fit journey, and then you had a New York best-selling book, you actually had a TV show there for a little while that had other trainers willing to kind of do a mini Fit2Fat2Fit journey. And so you kind of did accomplish this whole idea of getting more empathy in that industry. It's still desperately judgmental.
Yes, it's true.
But it is good to see that you have had that impact. I want to talk about an aspect of your original journey, which has also impacted your new journey. So in your original interview with me, I was listening back and you were talking about, and I remembered very clearly where you were like, yeah, this has put a really strain on my marriage, my wife. And I'm going, yeah, I could see how that would. And so, and then ultimately, not because of the Fit2Fat2Fit journey, but ultimately you guys didn't stay together and you got a divorce. And so obviously there was something that probably triggered in the midst of the journey what happened to make you guys split up. And do you regret that you went through the original journey because that happened? Because you've got two beautiful girls. I adore those girls. Every time you show
Thank
them,
you. Thank you.
Dad. So awesome. I've never been a dad. But if I was a dad, I would want girls to look at me like those girls look at you. But
thank you.
Like, do you regret you went through that journey because maybe it played a part in the breakup of that marriage?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jimmy. I have no regrets doing that first journey. It absolutely didn't. It absolutely had nothing to do with the breakup of our marriage. To be totally honest with you, obviously during that 6-month weight gain and weight loss phase, we argued a lot more than we normally did, and we'll get into that because I think that carries over into the second journey of how food affects your emotions and your mood and your relationships. But honestly, it had nothing to do with that, so I don't really have any regrets because my ex-wife was really cool. She could care less if I was 70 pounds overweight or ripped and shredded. That didn't matter to her. What mattered to her was it has to do with how I treated myself. I had no confidence in myself. I lost my self-esteem because I was so attached to my body image back then. And I was sad because my body was bigger for the first time and it kind of freaked out. This time, it didn't bother me that I was overweight. To be totally honest with you, I went to Hawaii, had my shirt off, no problem, not self-conscious at all. That first time, never once took my shirt off in public, turned the lights off during, situations with my ex-wife. And it had more so to do with how I viewed myself that affected our relationship, and because I lost that confidence.
Now that's interesting. I did not realize in the first time around you were ashamed of it, even though, dummy, you're the one that put yourself through that.
It's so true. I have no one else to blame but myself, so I'm not looking for sympathy from other people. But I'm just saying, for me, I freaked out.
But you did have fun this time around with it, taking it off, and you'd show pictures in the mirror. Oh, look, I got back fat now, and it was funny the way you did it. I appreciated that. I called you actually, and I was like,
I remember that.
It might kind of be a little bit hard for people to actually have back fat to see. But yeah, no, you did it in the right spirit, and you had fun with it this time, and you did all kinds of things. Who was that? It was a gym recently. You came in as Santa Claus, and that was kind of fun.
The Buttery Bros. They're a CrossFit documentary video people, and they're funny. And they had me do this kind of a Santa Claus thing. It was perfect. Yes.
Had you do some obstacle course when you were fit, and then you hurt now.
Bro, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
I had to do a VO2 max and a Jackie, which is a CrossFit workout. And I did it when I was fit. Now at my fattest, I did it again. And it was very, very hard.
Which, as a personal trainer, I mean, I know you probably don't do a whole lot of that anymore with the burgeoning of your business, but in the personal training aspect, that has to make you think, oh my gosh, I know what that feels like having a whereas maybe before you didn't have, oh, come on, I do it all the time. Let's go. And now you're like, no, dude, I get it. Take a moment.
100%. And that was the best part of the TV show, the episode where the trainer would have to do the first workout with their client. And that first day back, you saw them do that same workout and huffing, puffing, throwing up like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Because you don't really know what it's like until you kind of get to experience that. If you're always 8% body fat and you should work out every day, you have no idea what it's like for that person for their first day working out in years or decades to do a workout, and you're like, oh, what's wrong with you? Just like push through it. And it's very good to find ways like that to humble yourself so that you can try and have more empathy for other people. So for me, it was very powerful to struggle like that. But it's an uphill climb from here, and I'm glad that I get to experience that because, man, it makes me a better human. It makes me a better trainer because I understand the struggle so much better. Not a complete understanding because my journey is different than someone who's been overweight for 10 years and has 100 or plus pounds to lose. But for me, I think it would be good for some humans to experience that, to have more empathy.
You know who I wish would go on the fit journey?
Who?
Is Jillian Michaels.
I was going to say the same thing. I think most Americans would vote for her to have to do it. If we could vote and the celebrity would do it, that would be a cool TV show.
Her pride would never let her gain weight.
Yeah. Yes. I think she said before that she never wants to have kids because she doesn't want to mess up her body. I think she said that. But don't quote me.
Anyway, well, back on the relationship thing. So this time around, she had a girlfriend in the beginning of this journey, and you two were cute as hell, and it was awesome seeing you guys all googly eyes with each other, like that love each other do. And let's be honest, you're serious with this girl, and your little girls love her, and even your ex-wife loved her presence in your kids' life. So things were going along merrily.
Until Fit2Fat2Fit, pretty much. No, here's the thing. We've had issues in our relationship before Fit2Fat2Fit. I think Fit2Fat2Fit amplified those issues for sure. Because as you know, Jimmy, when you're in an unhealthy state, physical state, it carries over into your emotions and your mental state. So, for example, if I wake up in the morning and I'm sleep deprived like I was for the past 4 months, I'm not the same version of myself. I'm a little bit grumpier. I'm a little bit moodier. I'm not as happy. My cortisol's through the roof. My testosterone's dropping. My estrogen's high. So I'm emotional. So my ability to handle stress, whether it's from my daughters or from my girlfriend, Julie, is not the same. And so I didn't have the same, patience level that I had before. And so we definitely argued more during Fit2Fat2Fit because she's emotional. I'm emotional. It wasn't a good thing. And we even joked before my journey started that I was going to make her sign a contract that she couldn't break up with me. And we joked about that. And then to have something as serious as a breakup in a public way, it was very devastating. I'm still not even really healed from it. So I won't get into a lot of the details, but Julie was the first girl I loved since my divorce over 6 years ago. She was my first girlfriend. And so to go through a painful breakup on top of Fit2Fat2Fit, for me, that's what I'm talking about. Like the word depressed, I've never used in my life.
Right.
This was probably that depressed feeling I've never felt before.
Right.
And from an outside perspective, it's easy to say, oh, well, you shouldn't have done Fit2Fat2Fit because then you never would have broken up. That's not necessarily true. I mean, no one knows the ins and outs, the details of our relationship. We've had issues before this that we've tried to work on through therapy and stuff, and they never were ultimately resolved. And because they weren't, they were amplified during this journey. So it could have happened anytime eventually, but things happen all the time and for a reason. And I'm looking at this opportunity as an opportunity for growth instead of blame, resentment, hate, judgment, self-hate. I've been through that before with my divorce, and I've learned from that. And I don't want to go back to that place. But there's a lot of opportunity for growth and lessons to be learned from my relationship with Julie, even though it didn't work out in the end.
All right, this is going to sound horrible, and you know me, we're friends, but I think the fact this happened is a very good thing because, and just from my perspective of watching someone who's trying to show what it's like to live life in the body of a person that's trying to get healthy, real life stuff happens where there's trauma, there's breakups, there's tragedy that happens in people's lives. And hell, 2020 was tragedy with all the COVID stuff and all the race relation stuff and that stupid election, like all of that caused all this stress. And so on top of being bigger, now you're having the little mixture, the little cocktail of some stress thrown in there too. All right, big boy, let's see your way under that auspice.
It's so true, man. And like you said in the beginning of our podcast, like why would you do this in the middle of a global pandemic? And then to go through a breakup on top of that, I feel like it was the perfect time to do it and I didn't plan on the breakup thing for sure. But 2020 has been so much harder for other people in other ways. And now 2020 is over and 2021 is starting. Now's the perfect time to start over with a new year. And here I am in the same place. Here I am, the leader, the Instagram guy, like the keto guy, whatever. I'm 62 pounds overweight, 26.2% body fat, really bad blood work if you look at my blood work. And here I have a long ways to go. And why not do this journey together instead of separately divided? Let's do it together, unified. And that's what, for me, Fit2Fat2Fit, it happened when it was supposed to happen. And now the journey back to fit, I think, is going to be even that much more powerful.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how much you gained this time. So 80 pounds almost the last time, and you started, I believe, 170 the last time. What were you at the beginning of this journey?
So this one was 181.6. The last journey I was started at 193. So I was 12 pounds heavier last time.
Oh, okay.
And I gained 76 pounds in 6 months, the first journey. This journey I only did 4 months of gaining weight, and I gained 62 pounds in 4 months.
Right. And you probably trajectorying hard for that 80 pounds had you kept going.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So talk about some of the markers, because I know people are like, well, okay, what changed? Like triglycerides, inflammation markers, obviously blood sugar, insulin. You got all that by your side?
I do. Let me make sure I got it right.
Spreadsheet. We'll get it
Boom.
up.
Yes, I got the spreadsheet. Yeah. Blood work. Okay, so let's start with triglycerides. Triglycerides were really interesting. So my baseline was 46, really good, right? Went up to 246 after month 1. Woo! Then I did a dirty keto experiment. Do you remember that? Yes. Where I did dirty keto. My triglycerides dropped to 79. On dirty paleo, went up to 172. Dirty vegan, 488. Dirty vegetarian, 538. And the last time I got it tested was around 350. So still elevated. Crazy, right?
Guys,
let's look at – go ahead.
Guys, if that's not an indication of the impact carbohydrate has, even dirty keto.
Even if you're vegan though.
Yes, like even dirty keto brought them trigs right back down. But once he went to paleo, which probably had some honey and some other things in there, or tapioca starch, all that kind of stuff. And then vegan, vegetarian, oh my gosh, like it's huge.
It's scary, man. HDL started at 68. After 1 month, went down to 50. Dirty keto went back up to 55. Dirty paleo down to 50. And then dirty vegan, vegetarian, and the last month had been around 40. So not terrible, but not 68 like it was in the beginning. Let's look at, C-reactive protein.
That's a marker.
Yeah, 0.21 to start. 0.6. Yep, 0.64 after 1 month. And then dirty keto, paleo was about 0.56, 0.58. And then dirty vegan, 0.49. Dirty vegetarian, 0.86. And last month was 1.13.
I'm going to say that your metabolic health was so good.
Yeah.
That it takes a long time for inflammation to build up. Had you continued down like dirty vegan or something, it would be 5, 6, 8, 10 by now.
Yes. It's so crazy, right? Let's see. Testosterone was around 600 when I started. Dropped down to 240 just last month. So that's not good. Insulin currently is 23.2. I think it was almost non-existent before. I can't find that number for some reason, but yeah, insulin's up there for sure. What else am I missing? There's some other good stuff here, but anyways, there's a lot of interesting stuff. Yeah,
definitely follow him, you guys. Is it still Fit2Fat2Fit.com, your website?
Yeah, Fit2Fat2Fit.com with the number 2. You can check all that out.
See, last time I was like fit the two.
I think people know it now. People know it now. Hopefully.
227 friggin' thousand people. I think they know who you are by now. So.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So, by the time this airs, you're in the midst of your healing journey. And you said very openly, you're not really going to do keto this time around. And that was intriguing to some people when you said the journey back to fit isn't necessarily going to be a keto one. Can you reveal anything about what that means?
Yeah, 100%. So the first month will be keto. It's going to be more of a Mediterranean style keto, so a little bit less saturated fat, more poly and monounsaturated fats than I normally do, right? So a little bit less red meat. And then month 2, I'm going back to those diets because I want to educate people on, if you're going to do these diets, here's how to do them the right way, the healthy way. So for 1 week at a time, I'll be doing those. And then month 3 will be more of a cyclical keto. So not strict keto, but maybe 2 days off, 5 days on kind of thing. And then the last month will be more of like a targeted keto, more for performance, to hopefully ramp up my results by the end. Because here's the thing, I'm doing this in a 4-month phase, right? I have 60 pounds to lose in 4 months. So the way I'm doing it, might not be the most ideal way for most people. But for me, for this journey, the purposes of this journey is to get back to somewhat where I was after 4 months. So it's specifically created for maximal results in a short period of time. But yeah, it'll be keto-ish, intermittent fasting, but not strict keto all the time. There will be carbs implemented during some parts of the journey.
So Drew, can I ask table on losing the weight? Obviously, I know you didn't want to go indefinitely on gaining the weight, but isn't it a better lesson to teach? And I'm just playing devil's advocate because we're having fun here. To teach people, it's not the speed by which you lose weight once you have the body, but getting it off healthfully. Wouldn't it be more prudent to do, say, an 8 to 12 month plan?
Yeah, 100%. I just don't know if people would follow it for that long. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people, for 4 months, because we did a lot of research before the TV show, and 4 months is kind of a time frame where that's long for most people. Most people are like, okay, I can follow you for 60 days, 60-day program.
Right.
But I get what you're saying. I think what I wanted to do, Jimmy, was really show people that, look, at the first journey, I did 6 months and 6 months. Let's see if I can do 4 months and 4 months just to see. So I get what you're saying. But here's the thing also, I don't want to make people think like my 4 months is extreme. Like I'm working out 5 days a week, 20 to 45 minutes per day, max. That's it. Nothing like 3 a days. I'm eating 2,000 calories, which isn't starving, right? It's not like super low. I mean, it's low-ish, but this isn't something that's like, working out 3 times a day, eating, 1,500 calories and speeding it up. So I see what you're saying, and I don't want people to think that that's what it is, but it is a little bit of that for me for the purposes of this journey.
And I can appreciate, by the way, the people's attention spans.
Yeah.
That's the educational piece of this. And maybe in the midst of it, and you've probably already thought of all this, but in the midst, say, hey, look, ideally you want to kind of stretch it out and just kind of let your body lose at the pace it should.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of showing you it can be done, here's how you do it. So I do appreciate that aspect of it. Because what you're at the end of the day trying to do is teach principles that people apply themselves. So you're not wanting everybody to go out and rush it in 4 months just because your goal may be having people, all right, 8 to 12 months, keep yourself, a couple pounds a week to try to lose. 8 to 12 months, that's a significant amount of weight.
That's very true. And that's what my hope is after the 4 months. It's not like, all right, you guys, the journey's over, we're done, we can all relax now and go back to our old ways. It's, it'll be something where there will be, there will be a lot of value after the 4 months. There's not just going to be like 4 months and done, see you later, never talk to Drew again. There will be a lot of education to help people throughout the rest of the year. So yeah, that's a good point too, Jimmy.
All right, Mr. Drew.
Thank you.
What happens if after 4 months you don't lose the 60-something pounds?
That's a really good question. And to your point, I honestly think, like for me, it wouldn't be that bad. I think if at the end of the day, if I don't lose the 60 pounds in the 4 months, I really don't care. I know some people out there, there'll be some haters that'll be like, oh, you didn't lose it. But to be honest with you, it's a win-win situation. If I don't lose the weight, people will be like, oh, he's human. It's not perfect like it always, is supposed to be. And that's real life. Just like what happened on the first half of my journey, that's real life happens sometimes. And so if I don't lose the weight, it's not the end of the world. For me, you know me, Jimmy, that I used to be obsessed with my body image. Yes, I do like to look good, but for me, it's not this thing that I have to have that. Otherwise, my happiness isn't there. I just miss the feeling of being healthy, to be totally honest with you. Like the 6-pack, cool. But if I could just feel that feeling of being healthy again, like waking up after a good night's rest, sleeping efficiently through the night, mental clarity, better digestion, the energy, the focus that you have when you're on ketosis. I love that feeling of being able to go all day long instead of brain fog, having to take naps or be exhausted. low motivation, low libido, low testosterone. Like, that's not fun. You know what I'm saying? So.
But that's the reality for so many people, which is why what you're doing is inspirational for those people. They might look at you and go, "You crazy, bro," but I'm glad you kind of feel my bit.
Yeah. That's my hope, at least, is that people will feel like they're understood, because, like I've said before, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I feel like if everyone in the fitness industry could lead with that, instead of fighting over the science of this and that and what's the best diet and what's the best workout program and you need to look like me in order to be successful. Like, for me, that just leaves 80% of the population just like, okay, you guys fight over that stupid stuff. We'll stay over here where no one seems to care about us. I'm trying to bridge that gap. Does that make sense?
So Drew, 30 years old, you did the original Fit2Fat2Fit. 40 years old, you did Fit2Fat240. Hey, dude, don't do 50.
Come on, why not? I'm totally joking.
50 next year, by the way. And so, I mean, here's the thing. Like, you've been at this gig for a long time. I remember our original interview, you'd only been a personal trainer for a few years. Now you're a seasoned veteran and well-known speaker around the world. We've shared the stage together a few times at various conferences. Like, you don't need to do that anymore. I think you've proven the point. Like, I hope people know how hard what you just did 10 years ago was, what you just did again, even more so. And I'm confident you're going to lose the weight in the 4 or 5 months. But, like, I hope people realize what you did is not as easy as you made it look.
Well, I hope people don't look at it and see that it was easy. I mean, when if I lose the weight, people might, from an outside perspective, just hear about it and be like, oh yeah, he gained it, lost it, it was easy for him. But you saw my ins and outs, the ups and downs throughout every single day. But yeah, that's a really good point. I don't plan on doing it when I'm 50, just for the record. But last time I said I would never do it, and here I am. So maybe
do it, brother.
Never say never. I don't plan or foresee it happening ever again. Let's say that. Let's do that.
And whatever you do, don't be in a relationship with a girl at the time.
Exactly. I'm gonna go live in a cave next time, so I can just be left alone and not hurt anyone.
Just say I'm going on sabbatical the next, I don't know, 8 or 10 months.
That's a good idea.
6 months to gain and 6 months to lose last time. It was 4 and 4 this time. Next time it'll be 2 and 2.
2 and 2. Yeah. Hey, why not make it? I gotta take care of my health. We'll see when I'm 50 what my health is like, though.
Yeah. Well, dude, you are truly an inspiration to a lot of people. And as someone who admires your work greatly, I'm really glad that you are done with the weight gain aspect of this. You're on the way back down, and 40 is going to look pretty cool for you. It'll be another banner year. You think you got another book out of this one?
We'll see. My goal with this one, Jimmy, is actually a documentary. We've been filming the whole thing. There's so much stuff that hasn't been shown on social media. Yeah. So we have a ton of footage that no one's ever seen yet. And so my hope is to be able to post-production and create a documentary instead of a book. So we'll see. Now, it's
interesting. This time around, now I realize the pandemic has had an impact on this, but this time around, you didn't have a lot of media about your journey. Why not?
Yeah, good question. I don't know. I think with the pandemic and everything else, with the election year, there's a lot of other big news that kind of, and I even had a PR team, helping me out. So who knows? I don't really know the reason. It's out of my control. But it's all good. That's the thing. The power of social media is I could get more exposure on social media than going on some of these TV shows sometimes, because not a lot of people watch TV. It's a different demographic for sure. But social media, for me, I got a ton of exposure from that, and I'm okay with not going on the big TV shows. It just, I don't know. That's out of my control.
Well, 10 years ago, Leno was around. He's not anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Relevant, not anymore. The doctors it would have been interesting for you to go on the doctors, although they love to play the gotcha game when you go on there, and that might not have been good for you.
Yeah.
Where else would you have gone?
Where I was on the doctors, but they got rid of all their cast, and they have one doctor now, Dr. Ian Smith, who was really nice to me, really cool guy. So they didn't jump on me, maybe because I wasn't carnivore, but who knows? So it was a positive one.
said, I've shifted to carnivore. Will I please come? Fit2Fat2Fit is the keto guy. The #1 keto diet expert is what he says on his Instagram page, you guys. Go follow him, Fit2Fat2Fit. Remember, 2 is all the little number 2s in there. And follow his journey back to fit again. And you actually have a nice little program for people to follow you. I'm looking at your posts here. Is there a convenient little place? Is it fit2fatofit.com where they would be able to sign up to follow your journey back and get help themselves?
Yeah, /back to fit. So fit2fatofit.com /back to fit. If you want to join me on that journey, do the program with me, with thousands of other people from all over the world that have signed up. It's gonna be really cool and really powerful. So thank you for letting me promote that.
Yeah, man, you are a leader in this, and I do greatly admire you, even though I do send you a little text every once in a while. Say, yeah,
which is good. I appreciate that, Jimmy. I do, because sometimes I might lose sight of, like, okay, what am I doing? Is this too much this way? Is this too much that way? So I appreciate the candid feedback.
And you're at your highest weight, and you look like a stud on camera.
Well, thank you. You know what? So I don't really gain weight in my face. People are like, how come from here up? I was like, I don't know. My arms don't get fat. My legs don't get fat. It's mostly in my butt, my love handles, and my belly. And, the man boobs are, getting up there. But up from here up, I just shaved my beard, and it looks like I lost 20 pounds already,
Yeah, I saw you had like one of your girls do one half.
That was funny.
The other half, and she's like, I don't want to cut you. You won't cut me, honey.
Yeah, I know. They're so cute.
Well, Drew, thanks so much for joining us today, buddy.
It's Jimmy Moore. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good 2021.
Yeah, man. You too.